Hi, everyone. It's Lindsay Baker with Action Hour, and I'm here today with Cameron Ring, who is the founder of Veterans for Mustangs. And this is a group of veterans that want to end the roundups, and they say no, they know how to do it. So we're going to meet
Yeah.
him in just a second, but I want first for you to see this video.
They've absolutely saved my life. The horses have done more for me than any medication or any shrink ever has. I'm an active Army combat vet.
I was in the Air Force for 13 years.
I served in the United States Marine Corps.
I was Army National Guard. Horses changed my life. One specific horse named Awesome Gal.
That horse can feel my heartbeat, and it keeps me calm. It was just really the therapy that I was looking for.
I realized I know I have PTSD. Little did I know, I have pretty good communication with horses. They just attract to me like I'm a big part of their herd.
To just know that they're just getting slaughtered over politics, it just freaking irks the hell out of me.
What an incredible parallel. The American Mustang in the wild, men and women before the war, they're both failed by the government institutions that are built in to protect them both.
I just couldn't stand idly by knowing that horses like Awesome Gal were being destroyed.
And I know this act is going to be able to help veterans to give a purpose in their life again, because that's what it's done for me.
Why not allow veterans to be the ones to continue to protect and save this amazing symbol of American freedom and this unique heritage that we all signed up to defend?
I'm going to return the favor for the rest of my life and hope to join more veterans doing the same thing.
So, Cameron, thank you so much for being here today. This is a great honor. I want to thank you for your service. You are currently in the National Guard. And I want to ask you the first question that comes to mind, and we're going to get into the roundups for folks that don't know about it in just a moment. But how did the veterans and the Mustangs come together for this whole thing to evolve? Let's start with that.
Good question. Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is really amazing. I know in Chain TV, you guys have a lot of influence, so I appreciate you giving us a voice. I'm not currently in the National Guard anymore, but leaving it, myself and several combat veterans, I never saw combat, but several of my friends did, and we had something in common. We were all healed by horses. And I can tell you that I would not be the person I am now if it wasn't for Awesome Gal, who's a rescued Tennessee walking horse. And like you saw in that video, they do more for us than anything that we've gotten out of the VA. So we couldn't stand the fact that we saw these amazing animals getting rounded up in the West. And it's, we fought to preserve this beautiful Western heritage, not watch it be destroyed. So we had to do something. And
How did you
Go ahead.
How did you first find out about it? Because there are still so many people in the United States that don't know. So maybe just take us through that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, none of us are horse people until we got out of the military. And me personally, it was all because it's all the fault of Awesome Gal. She's a rescued Tennessee walking horse. She was abused herself with soaring, and that's a whole other issue. But I learned about that and her struggle, and actually made a film about it. But because of my experience in her, and I got into advocacy to try to end soaring through the PAST Act.
Soaring. Let's tell people what soaring is. Soaring is, let's just quickly so people know what we're talking about.
You're right. Soaring is the process of inflicting pain on a horse in order to achieve a certain gait. The gait's called the Big Lick gait. And
so that works that way naturally.
No, it's a learned response to pain. And no matter what you hear, if you see a horse that's doing the Big Lick gait, they had to have been soared at some point. Often it's constant, but no matter what, you cannot achieve that without inflicting pain on the horse, because they're going to pretend like that they can get it without harming the horse. It's total nonsense. So
I happen to have interviewed Peggy Larson, who is a veterinarian.
Okay.
Used to be within the veterinary group of rodeo
Oh, wow.
vets
Okay.
and left. And she said there were nails put through their hooves and things.
Yeah. So there are several ways to inflict the pain. Nails, also caustic chemicals wrapped on the ankles, and they wrap it on and they call it cooking. So it kind of burns through the flesh. So it's, the entire point is to make it painful to put the foot down. So they want to lift it up in this highly exaggerated gait called the big lick gait. Yeah.
So, okay, let's keep moving forward.
Okay. Yeah. So that happened. And I got involved in politics, and not by choice. I was drawn into it, and learned, it was through that advocacy that I learned about the roundups. And I saw what was happening. And at first it was so outrageous. I was like, this is probably a one-time, like, I didn't realize the extent. I didn't realize this was the main way of the Bureau of Land Management's main way of dealing with the horses, and the majority of their budget as well. And when I saw that, as myself and others, as veterans who were healed by these animals, and who fought, like I said, to preserve this country, not watch it be destroyed. But we have such an amazing, beautiful American heritage here. We signed up to defend it, so we couldn't watch our government destroy it. So we figured there had to be a solution, and the solution we came up with was HR 726, the Veterans for Mustangs Act, and that is a bill it was written a couple years ago. It took me, I spent a year getting any meeting I could with Congress, trying to get someone to care about it, and through the help of Marty Irby, who's fantastic, he helped me work with Congresswoman Lisa McClain, who took the initiative to introduce this as a bill, and she's been fantastic. And we actually have 20 co-sponsors now, 9 Republicans, 11 Democrats. And the goal is to end the roundups, and any herd management that needs to be done would be done with veterans who would manage the herds with reversible fertility control. And I know we can talk about that, but veterans, on the veteran side, we relate to the horse in a lot of ways. One way is the agency that's meant to protect us has failed us, and that's the VA. Same with the horse. It's an amazing parallel. The agency that's meant to protect them, the Bureau of Land Management, has failed them. And if you look at the numbers, in the wars on terror, starting 2001 to 2021, 7,057 veterans had died in combat, or soldiers have died in combat. During that same time, according to Stop Veteran Suicide, 125,000 have killed themselves. Nice. So the number that you get from the VA is less because they only count direct suicides. But if you look at overdoses, alcoholism, like things like that, we're pushing 150,000 deaths for whatever we were trying to do in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Can I ask you a question? I know this is a far-reaching question, and a very complex question, but is the majority of the suicide due to for the veterans not being able to reintegrate back into society? Has society moved on, or how has that become? Can you just touch on that for us? Because this is a new subject for us.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. According to a study, and I could get you the citation, but basically a study of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans who with depression, the number one reason cited for depression was lack of purpose. And so you look at other ancient warrior cultures, whether it's Sparta or like Aborigine tribesmen, African tribesmen today, American Indians, there's no concept in those cultures, in those warrior cultures of PTSD. And if you look at it, there are 2 reasons. One is the entire community absorbs the hurt. So when warriors go off to war and they come back, the entire village would, usually through ritual, would absorb the hurt with them. Whereas in America and the West, you're kind of like off on your own, off on the side. You're not absorbed into it. So all the burden of war is put on just that one person, as opposed to being absorbed by the community. And number 2, they had a very specific and revered purpose A lot of times it would be hunting. In some cases like Sparta, it would be like training the younger ones, but it was a very specific and revered purpose. And in America, it's if you can get a job, great, good luck. And if you're depressed, here are your happy pills, go be happy.
Wow.
And so veterans for Mustangs would provide meaningful, purpose-driven jobs for veterans who want to continue to protect this amazing country that within the beautiful wilderness and defend the animal that saved our lives. So that, you know, horses saved our lives. We just love to be able to save their lives as well.
Now, I just want to, before we get deeper into the weeds of the act and how it would change the Wild and Free Roaming Horse and Barrow Act, etc. I want to, for people that don't know about the roundups, let's play a little clip of the roundup. And then we're also going to talk about what happens to the horses.
Yes, let's do that.
Holding, and how long? Oh, I think 60,000 are in holding pens indefinitely.
Yeah, and I've been to one. I've seen it. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, we'll talk about in a moment. Okay, I mean, that footage is just horrific, but it doesn't really, you know, I mean, I look at the footage until the end where you see them beating the horses.
Yeah, because they're trying to escape the holding.
You just see horses running. It doesn't look that bad. But when people really are made aware of what's happening, horses live in little tribal units of like 13 or so, correct?
Yeah.
And what happens is when these roundups occur, these family units are running for their lives. Some of the younger ones fall. The foals get separated from the mothers. This is a huge problem. Talk a little bit about what happens to the horses during this first part.
It's so sad. And it's unnecessary, but so they'll run them for, 10 miles at some point. The Kentucky Derby is a mile. And it's not uncommon for foals to collapse, horses to collapse. Many will die on the roundups if they make it through that and they go into that towards the end. You saw them beating it. They're trying to escape out of that little holding pen and they're panicking. So many will die in that as well. And then if they survive that, they go to holding facilities, which are atrocious. In Colorado, Canyon City holding facility, 140 horses died in just because of the bad condition. And that's what we know about. If you as a reporter try to go to these holding facilities, they won't let you in.
Yeah, we prefer not to name the facilities, and we would say that this is typical. We have not seen the facility, so I can't corroborate it, but we have heard and have seen evidence of how the horses are kept. Maybe you can just describe a little bit without naming names.
Okay.
What we saw,
yeah, so they are in no shade, no pasture. They're in extremely small areas, and I've been to one. Actually, there was I don't know how this is even legal. Horses are there that are pregnant, so they've ran them in there, and then they give birth while they're in there. And I was at a holding facility watching these atrocious conditions and watched one give birth, and the baby, like the mother and the baby, died. And it's you're several. There's several layers of fences, and so you try to call the emergency number. Literally, no one answered. So we were watching this happen, and no one was there from the Bureau of Land Management to do anything. And then the really sad thing was there were,
Did you contact the Bureau of Land Management afterwards?
yeah, several people were there, and they did, and they said, yeah, this happens. It wasn't. It was, oh well.
Oh, wow. Just an
The
extended
saddest
report.
thing was there was this one other mother and her foal, and the foal, I guess, was a foal and full of life and bouncing around, and the mother was trying to like keep it like under control, and the foal wanted to like just be free and have fun, and the mom was, you could see the ears back, almost going like, don't get your hopes up, you're never getting out of here. It was this really weird dynamic watching it.
Oh my goodness.
Sad.
Yes. So let's take
Oh,
it to
wait,
the
I
next-
got it. One thing.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the helicopters, I don't know, I can send you some stuff on this, but if you look at usaspending.gov, those helicopters are actually flown by livestock corporations. There are 4 key ones. Ashley Avis in her documentary, Wild Beauty. It's fantastic. Everyone should watch it. They look at, they focus on couture, but there are several, and they get multi-million-dollar contracts, and they go into holding facilities, and the holding facilities are contracted to livestock corporations as well. So what we're really looking at is a slush fund. So that's the biggest problem that we're fighting against, because if you get multi-million-dollar contracts to do something, you're not going to want to give them up. But I think we have a better way, that's more healing, that will help our veterans, that's better for horses, and will just overall make our country a better place.
Okay, let's get into that in just a moment. I want to talk a little bit more about the other horrific thing that happens, and this has been documented by the New York Times. Horses wind up going to slaughter. People don't understand that. There was also another story where they're sold off to adoption, and even with the best intentions, people are given horses with very little knowledge and education.
Yeah,
and they wind up ultimately going through a line where they ultimately wind up in the glue factory.
Yeah.
Owner to owner. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into the bill. And
okay. Yeah. The slaughter pipeline is a problem that is the government seems unwilling to even address, to barely acknowledge, but they don't want to address it. And it's horses can be sold for slaughter in Mexico, and if you are a quote kill buyer, you can get $1,000 from the government, pocket that, and then go sell the horse over the border and pocket that money too. So it becomes its own industry right there. Mm-hmm. And there is footage, like, in the New York Times, Ashley Avis got footage. There are footage. You can go into to kill pens and see Mustangs. It's pretty well documented, and no one seems to care. I don't know if the government really wants to care, but that's a different issue.
Yeah, that's a different issue. So what you're trying to do, and your group is trying to do, is before they get, you want to stop the roundups.
We want to keep them wild. Yes.
So I just want to take a quick little break here. And in case someone has to leave, how would they what's the best way to get in touch with you? We'll put all these links at the top.
Okay. Yeah, we have a Facebook group, Veterans for Mustangs. And then the email is veteransformustangs@gmail.com. Yeah, feel free to reach out. We're doing the best we can to try to raise awareness of this and hopefully make a dynamic change with how we deal with wild horses.
Yeah, and we want to also invite everybody to download Unchained TV. It's a free app, and we are a free streaming network. And by the way, Cameron, we're going to talk a little bit about your filmmaking, and you have a film you might want to display it on Unchained TV. We would love to talk about that separately, but please, folks, download the app, support us, support Unchained TV. We're alternative medium, and we get the story out that the mainstream media is not getting out to you, so we can make a change.
Love it.
Having said that, let's talk about your bill. Cool. It's a little controversial, but we'll go ahead and talk about that. So it's HR 726.
Yes.
And basically what it is says here, it's to amend the Wild and Free Roaming Horse and Burros Act. So why don't you get into the weeds a little bit with us? On
Okay.
exactly what
Yeah.
that is.
The Wild and Free Roaming Horses and Burros Act, 1971.
Now,
Who don't know, was pioneered almost single-handedly by a woman who I think is a hero, Wild Horse Annie.
we love
And
Wild Horse Annie.
yes, and so she did it through leather right, like almost a decade of constant battling to make this happen, and it resulted in her efforts resulted in the 1971 Wild Horse and Burros Act. At the time, horses were easily like slaughtered. There was no protection at all. You could go hunt. Mustangers was a thing. There's a movie called The Mustangers, and that's literally what they do. So it ended that, and the intention was to protect the wild horses and create a thriving ecological environment where everyone could be happy, was again essentially the goal. But what ended up happening, like most agencies, there was agency capture, and the special interests of corporations took over, and the horses got screwed. So the roundups are the main method of population control. That's a whole other battle discussion, because it's really gonna be very difficult to have a thriving ecological habitat with cattle on the land. But at the very least, we should all, as a nation, be able to acknowledge that flying helicopters and with running horses for miles into these atrocious conditions is not the best way to deal with that.
And there's no end to it. How eventually all the horses will be gone, and the ones that have survived will be in these holding pens.
Yeah.
In the life of hell, and they'll die off
to the cost of $2 billion. The holding facility, according to the BLM, is $2 billion to hold them. So that's
$2 billion a year.
No, over the course of, I believe it's the total budget that they're looking at for holding is $2 billion for the holding over like 10 years. But the roundups themselves are like $150 million a year, and they've been doing it for however many years they've been doing it, and plan to continue doing it forever. So the cost alone is just insane. But
Cameron, don't mind me saying this. If you could make sure you're looking in the camera.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
It's a little dark, and we want to see your eyes. It really helps.
Got it.
Yeah, love you. Thanks. Keep going.
But yes, so our bill would is an attempt to replace the roundups with veterans who manage the herds through PZP, fertility control. If we're not taking a stance right now on what the number of horses that are on the land, that's a whole other issue. But we're saying if we're going to do anything to them, they should be left wild, and this would be a perfect job for veterans who already have these skills to go out in the wild, be in nature, how to manage these different situations. They know how to do it, and it would be an amazing transition for veterans coming back.
So that sounds like a wonderful opportunity to engage the veterans. But explain to us who would be overseeing. So this bill would set up people to oversee. Now, who's going to oversee?
So the model that we want to use is Assateague herd in Maryland, which the horses are managed in its exact same way. The Bureau of Land Management still manages it, but they don't do it. So they have people that do it. So that's how we would see ours going. Would be the Bureau of Land Management would still oversee it, but veterans would be the ones doing it.
So where would this be happening? Did you pick one location in particular to start, or tell me how that works?
The bill does not. The bill goes big. It goes for a sweeping change that would make this the primary method. So it would be everywhere is the goal. Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be or if, and or I should say when it passes, there's going to be some resistance, I'm sure, but the bill right now says everywhere. So we will see how that goes.
Now, as far as I know you want to use the veterans and that it's a great opportunity and usage of them to give them purpose,
Mhm.
but, and they may be expert shooters, or they may be, expert at other things in the wilderness, but they're not veterinarians and they're not horse experts. So who would fill that gap?
So the way that the numbers and all that would come from would be work in conjunction with. So if you look at the Virginia Range or Salt River or Assateague, the people that are doing it aren't veterinarians either. They're people that care, but you would have to work in coordination with it, which is how it's done at those places. So the beauty about this is it's not actually, we're not reinventing anything. We're saying take what works at Assateague, Salt River, Virginia Range, and a couple others like McCullough Peaks and I think Spring Creek Basin in Colorado, where this
None
method
of those
is.
places have roundups.
Yeah, they're trying to. So those three, so Assateague, Salt River, and Virginia Range do not. And Virginia Range is actually 3,000 horses, and they manage it. And they're not. One of them actually is a veteran. I met him; he's a great guy, but they're not veterinarians. But they work in conjunction with them. The other two that are under threat, McCullough Peaks and
That's right.
Spring Creek, are under threat.
Mhm.
So because it's not officially encoded, I'm actually not sure how they pulled that off in McCullough Peaks in Wyoming, because Wyoming is not a place that wants to do anything but round them up. So, but we're saying this is a legislative thing. So it's not by choice. It's a legislative fix that would at least address the roundups, and hopefully we can.
And you feel that it would stop the wild horse roundups across the western states?
That would be, yes. They're gonna try. I don't know how they're gonna try to oppose it, but at least if it would at least mitigate it, the goal is to stop all of them. That's the goal.
Right. Very interesting. Now, how much support does this bill have, and what has to happen, and how can people learn more? You do have a website, correct?
Yeah, well, we have a Facebook, and the website is down right now, but we have a Facebook and everything's there. You could look up
the name again so we can get people to make sure.
It's Veterans for Mustangs, and that's the Facebook.
At Veterans for Mustangs on Facebook.
Yeah. And so the support is, we're getting a lot with veterans, and in Congress we have 20 co-sponsors on the bill. So there are 9 Republicans and 11 Democrats. Some prominent wild horse people. Yeah, which is pretty rare. So we need it right now. But we have prominent horse supporters like Congressman Joe Neguse, Dina Titus, Steve Cohen on the Democrat side, and then on the Republican side we have some prominent veteran supporters like Lisa McLean. We also have Cliff Benz, who supports veterans, but he's traditionally been taking a stance on this, but he's a great supporter because he cares about veterans, and he is in a ranching district, but he sees the opportunity. This can be a better way to do it and heal veterans. So we have a pretty eclectic mix of people.
As far as the organizations, the horse advocacy organizations, which ones are you working with? Well,
we've worked with Animal Wellness Action and Center for a Humane Economy have been crucial in this. They're fantastic. I've worked with another great one is American Wild Horse Campaign. They've endorsed the bill, but I've been out to they're kind of doing. They have a lot. They're doing their own thing, and they're doing great work. But I've actually been out to the Virginia Range, which is managed by them, and I saw how they do it. So there are quite a few groups, and we're working on veterans groups as well. So we have a list of endorsements. I think it's up to 150 now. I can send it to you, but we have different veteran groups, animal groups.
I would be glad to, when these go on the streaming, we do edit some of them. I'll be glad to add it to the list.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send that to you. Yeah, that'd be great.
On the end. I'm trying to get around this because I have heard the other side of the story about PZP,
Okay.
etc. And that some groups, there definitely will be a pushback, in my own humble opinion, from other horse advocacy groups.
Oh, there already is. It's not a will. It's happening.
And it's unfortunate that, and I'm not taking sides because I'm far from an expert, or am I deep enough into this to say this one's right, that one's wrong. I wouldn't anyway on the show, but it's sad because I think if groups can come together, this could be taken care of.
It could. Yeah. What Lincoln said, a house divided cannot stand. And that's true. So we're really trying to focus on the veteran side because there's not this like major divide. I've been to Salt River too. I just saw that. I've actually been there and watched how they do it. Really good. They're cool people. I need to go back there. I had a great time at Salt River. So you're right. It is a shame, and it's a huge obstacle. And this could be controversial, but I would say the biggest obstacle to this passing is actually not the BLM or ranchers. It's actually advocacy groups because they're fighting each other. You can't fight an enemy and each other at the same time. It doesn't work. So
are you open to, certainly this is a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
Something that I would imagine, and tell us if this is your vision, it could morph and change to meet the needs of the horses. And this is for the horses, this is for the environment.
You're right. And I would love it to be where veterans manage the lands completely, like count like sage grouse, like bring water where they're needed to. So this is a first step, because if we don't end the roundups, there might not be any horses left to save. So the goal of this is to stop the biggest problem, which is the roundups. End that. And like, to use a military term, you can't take Berlin until you take Normandy. So you got to get your beachhead first. Take that. Stop the most egregious aspect of this. Stop the worst stuff first, which is the roundups. And then, I would love to go on and actually have the goal of a thriving ecological environment. We have an idea called the Veterans Public Lands Corps, which is modeled after the Civilian Conservation Corps, that would actually do more than just horses. But this is the first step in that. But
sounds like your guys are very ambitious and have a lot of hopes and dreams, which is amazing. Tell us a little bit about, because we're almost through our time.
Okay.
I'm going to give you some time, anything that we didn't get into. Tell us a little bit about your filmmaking background.
So the first film I did was based on Awesome Gal, the horse that rescued me. And I always tell her, whenever people are attacking me or whatever, I always go to her and be like, this is all your fault. Yeah, but she's a sweetheart, and she really did change my life. And she's a perfect example of this incredible healing power that horses offer. And without her, I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing now. I'd probably be an angry, bitter veteran, honestly. But because of her, I'm able to do this. And, like Dusty so beautifully said in that first video you showed, they've done so much for us. We want to pay it back for the rest of our lives. And so the first film I did is a short film called Awesome Gal, about her story. She was abused and escaped her abuse and found a runaway child who was also fleeing an abusive household. And they actually came together and helped each other heal. And when we rescued Awesome Gal, we heard her story and turned it into a short film. And now I have a feature-length script that I'm working on getting out there too. But the short film won 12 awards and was screened at Sundance. And so I'm happy about that. Yeah. And now I have a follow-up. I wrote a story based on when I was I would hear stories of veterans who told about rescue dogs in Iraq that would follow them around. There's a huge stray dog issue. Yeah, there's Maximus. So he is Dusty's service dog. He's absolutely incredible. And he came with us to the Capitol, and the hundreds of emails I set up for meetings and stuff, Dusty got us into so many more. I mean, he would just walk in with his dog and everyone would be like, oh, look at the cute dog. And then we'd have a meeting. So, but yeah, the dogs are also healers. And the next film that I have with my buddy Shane, I wrote, it's called Only One Died, and it's about group of soldiers overseas who adopt a stray dog.
Now, where can we see your films?
That is hopefully today. It's the final edit, and we're going to the festival circuit for Only One Died. But for Awesome Gal, the website chancesawesomegal.com. You can see it there, and you see the short film. Yeah,
we'll put that link at the top.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it's powerful, but it's I'm really proud of that. And we had a great director too. His name was Frank Callow. He shot it beautifully. It was so beautiful, and I hope we can get the feature length done too. But
were you a photographer or an artist before you went into the military? I mean, how did you start doing filmmaking?
So all of us came into horses afterwards with the heel.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I asked how you came into filmmaking. I don't know, we're having a little bit of a connection problem.
Let me see.
Hopefully it'll clear up because you're frozen. So why don't you go out and come back in? Try that. Can you do that? And what I'll do, I'll show the film again for people just coming on. So if you would try going out and coming back in, let's see. There we go. So folks, I'm sorry we're having a little technical difficulty, but check this out.
They've absolutely saved my life. The horses have done more for me than any medication or any shrink ever has. I'm an active Army combat vet.
I was in the Air Force for 13 years.
I served in the United States Marine Corps.
I was Army National Guard. Horses changed my life. One specific horse named Awesome Gal.
That horse can feel my heartbeat, and it keeps me calm. It was just really the therapy that I was looking for.
I realized I know I have PTSD. Little did I know, I have pretty good communication with horses. They just attract to me like I'm a big part of their herd.
To just know that they're just getting slaughtered over politics, it just freaking irks the hell out of me.
What an incredible parallel. The American Mustang in the wild, men and women before the war, they're both failed by the government institutions that are built in to protect them both.
I just couldn't stand idly by knowing that horses like Awesome Gal were being destroyed.
And I know this act is going to be able to help veterans to give a purpose in their life again, because that's what it's done for me.
Why not allow veterans to be the ones to continue to protect and save this amazing symbol of American freedom and this unique heritage that we all signed up to defend?
I'm going to return the favor for the rest of my life and hope to join more veterans doing the same thing.
Well, unfortunately, Cameron has not come back on, so I won't be able to continue. I'm going to wait a moment or two here, folks. And while I'm waiting, I think it's a great opportunity for me to ask you to tell your friends about Unchained TV. This is our streaming network. It's free. It's totally free. All you have to do is go to watch.unchained.tv and you can download the app. Actually, you can watch for free without even downloading the app. But we hope that you do decide to join us and even possibly become a subscriber. Let's just read a few comments. And I see that everybody is supporting. There are some veterans that have come on. Thank you guys for coming on and talking about this issue. I know we have some regulars. Oh, Cameron is coming back on. Yay, we got it. Well, I did a little tap dance.
Yeah, we got it now. So.
Okay, Cameron, we're actually almost out of time, but of course, I'm going to let's finish up about your filmmaking and then anything else you feel it's really important to get across to our audience. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. The filmmaking I think it's the most powerful medium. And if you can do it right, you can express things that you can't express any other way emotionally. And with the bill, I would love anyone wants to help us out. The best thing to do would be to raise awareness of it and tell your congressman to support it. And I think we can do something. We need, it is a big bill. It is pretty seismic, but we're at the point, I think, in our country where we need major changes. We need to go big and stop just settling for crumbs and just say, we're the citizens, this is what we want, and we don't want to accept anything less. Because we, as veterans, we fought for this, the country. We fought for representative government. We just need to make it work for us. So that's our goal, and appreciate Unchained TV for giving me this opportunity, and you guys are great.
Well, thank you so much. And we do want people to go to your website, to your Facebook page and learn more. We'll also put up links. I'll have you send me a couple of links to organizations that you work with, and we'll be able to share those as well. And, I would love to have you come back on and talk about your film.
Okay, I would love to. Yeah.
And also the film you're working on now. I think this is really an incredible way to be an activist. So would you call yourself now a full-time activist? Is that mostly what you're doing?
I guess so. It really is. Yeah, it wasn't ever the intention, but it kind of, sometimes the tides of just sweep you away. And now I'm fully, I'm in the deep end with activism. And so my filmmaking and what I do in Congress is all geared towards horses and animals.
And I think when you were saying that you visit your horse, where do you go? Where do you go to visit her?
She's in Virginia. So she's we're in the mountains of Virginia, and beautiful place. And so I go, and there are several other rescue horses there too, including her daughter, who she was separated from for 10 years and now is reunited. It's Awesome Gal, and her daughter is Elegant Gal. Awesome. But I love spending time with them, and I'll send you.
When you go?
Yes. And the most amazing part is, so after 10 years, when Awesome Gal and her daughter, Elegant Gal, were reunited, you can tell that they put their foreheads together, and I got a picture of it. And I'll send it to you. Yeah. Remind me. It's so beautiful.
I would love to put that up. I don't think people realize that these are family units that we are destroying on top of everything else. I have a viewer said, I can't watch this. It is horrifying, but if we take action, and I agree with you, I haven't read through everything, but I'm for stopping the roundups, whatever it takes, however it takes to get them stopped as soon as possible. And then build from there, whatever. But I think a lot of information is going to come out, and with the help of everyone on here that can share out, so we can expose and get to the truth. Like, why are these happening? Why aren't our representatives and, frankly, the BLM doing its job to protect these horses? Instead, it seems like they're destroyed. It seems like they're being destroyed, and we want to get to the
it's almost like that's their intention, right?
Yeah. We want to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, they maybe in their minds they're successful. They just have different goals than we do.
And that's all of the American people that count. We are the
we have to raise our voice. We do have the representative democracy does work. We has to be together. It can't be just one individual shouting. It has to be a movement.
And we have to divide. They divide and conquer. We have to come together. That's our differences. Come together, get the goal, and then go from there.
Yeah, say what you want about them. They're united. The ranchers and all that, they are in lockstep. They don't break ranks, and that's why they're successful. It's a big part of it, at least.
Yeah, not for long though.
Yes,
so thank
exactly.
you so much. Thank you so much for being on. We're out of time. Thank you, folks, for watching Action Hour. I'll be back next week with another story, and we're going to have Cameron on again to talk about his films. Thank you so much.
I would love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.